Speaking of that, what do you think we're getting wrong currently about leadership, or what are the most glaring mistakes you see happening?
Yeah, very first thing, uh, I think we make it about us as leaders. We're
Mm,
too ingrained, and this isn't a new thing. This has been happening since the dawn of time, pretty much. But we make it about us, and we see leadership as being about how we can use power for us, for our
mm,
benefit. Leadership is our it benefits us. I'm in a position of leadership, so I'm way up here, you're down here. We look at it as leader follower dynamics way too much. Um, Leadership is about making others better and making situations better. Or I would even say it's about making people better, making situations better. It's not necessarily about our power. We should be using our power for good as much as possible. So you see this in politics all the time. Unfortunately, you see this in business. Unfortunately, you see this in sports. The leaders, you know, do what I tell you to do. Do what do what I say, not what I do. Um, I have different rules for you as opposed to me. I'm not trying to make situations better. I'm trying to see whose fault it is. I'm
mm.
playing the blame game. That's one of the best sports out there is the blame game. We play that all the time. And I think as leaders, related to it's not about us, is we're not very good with the responsibility issue. Most of us will say, yeah, I take responsibility for my actions. First of all, I would say a lot of us don't take responsibility fully for our actions. We just give it lip service. But what we don't do for sure is we don't take responsibility for other people's actions. And what I mean by that is we play the blame game as leaders. So Aaron commits an error at out in the field or whatever in baseball. Well, you're the reason we lost that game. Or it's not my fault Aaron made that error. I've put him through hitting drill, or I've put him through fielding drills. I've hit him the ball a bunch of times. Hey, he knows what he's supposed to do. That was his fault. That's not my fault. No, but it might not be your fault because you're not out there playing, but it is your responsibility to figure out how Aaron can be a better player, how he can be more prepared. Maybe you have him in the wrong position. Maybe you didn't give him the right scouting report. Or maybe you did all that right, but now it's your responsibility to help him to be better moving forward. We sometimes look at that blame game, the fault, it's not my fault. You're right. It's not as a leader, but it is 100% your responsibility to try to make things better or to have made things better previously, to find solutions. I don't care whose fault it is if gas prices are high, going political. I don't care whose fault it is. I want solutions. How can we make this better? I don't care in this business whose fault it is that we're not getting the profits. How can we get profits, or how can we make it better? Now, obviously, there's always room for correction, and there's always room for, hey, we've got to identify the problem. We've got to identify why this is the case. But too oftentimes we dwell on that and we cover our butts too much as leaders. And that could be political, business, or it could be coaching. We do this all the time in coaching. We cover our butts. It's not my fault. It's our players' fault, or it's the officials' fault, or whatever. And it's like, I saw it with a football coach this year, and he actually since got fired, but a high level football coach in the SEC conference, first game of the year, they lost. And he says, I take full responsibility for this loss. And almost in that same breath, then he started talking about our guys just aren't tough enough. Our guys just aren't committed enough, all this kind of stuff, putting it on the guys. It's like, I understand where he's coming from, but if you're going to take full responsibility, we didn't get them ready. We're the reason that they're not tough enough. We're the reason that they're not committed enough. But you see this all the time. It doesn't matter what sport it is. They put the blame back on the players, which, yes, in some ways, there's blame to be had with the players. But ultimately, as a leader, you're responsible for figuring out what makes Aaron tick, how I can make Aaron the best, how I can put him in a position to succeed and not fail. And we don't do that enough. We don't inspire. We don't add value to the people around us, but then we don't inspire them to be their best. So that was a long answer to that. But I think as leaders, we make it too much about ourselves. We either want the glory too much or we want to cover our butts way too much.